We have an update from itch.io regarding what they're doing with their NSFW content. And well, would you look at that? Nothing at all is going to be changing in the long run. And ultimately, Collective Shout is getting a massive L at the end of the day. This comes to us from itch.io themselves. And they said, reindexing adult not safe for work content. Today, we are reindexing free adult not safe for work content. We are still in ongoing discussions with payment processors and will be reintroducing paid content slowly to ensure we can confidently support the widest range of creators in the long term. Note, I've limited the display of replies to prevent off-topic discussion. If you have issues or concerns, you can contact support, or if you want to have a more public discourse, then I recommend creating a topic and general discussion. Oh, damn, I genuinely appreciate the transparency coming from itch.io right now. If you'd like to be eligible for today's reindexing, your page must have the following option checked. The quote-unquote no payments option under the pricing section of your project's edit page in your dashboard. All of these are getting automatically reindexed, and then they're going to be slowly bringing back the other ones, and they're going to explain why here. Important. If your page uses individually priced files, changing this option will convert those files to be freely available. We currently do not support a page configuration that combines owners-only content with a page configured to be fully free with payments disabled. Given the circumstances, we are exploring new ownership options in the dashboard that may address this. At the moment, though, only enable this option if you intend for all files on your project to be available for free. We are also implementing a new content warnings system for pages tagged as not safe for work. To be eligible for indexing, all page owners will be required to complete this. This feature is not yet ready, but we will post an update when it is. If your page was previously indexed, you will have a time window to complete this requirement to avoid going in and out of indexing. And here is the one that everyone was here for, the Stripe update. For those who aren't aware, Stripe is one of the payment processors we've used since our early days. They've provided the pay with card option on our checkout page for over 10 years. We spoke with Stripe yesterday about their content policy. They confirmed that they will not be able to support adult content that fits the following definition, quote unquote, content designed for sexual gratification. Well, damn, that's a pretty broad title for a definition that is open to a lot of ambiguous judgment calls that doesn't necessarily guarantee anything at all. Who's the one deciding this? Who is making the call on that? Secondly, why is this a new rule that's being implemented and forced? Very, very strange. It almost is like the calls to Visa and Mastercard have not made enough of an impact yet. And until they actually come out and say they're going to back off, I would argue that if people want to make a difference, they need to continue contacting who they disagree with their customer service lines. Stripe asked us to pass along the following message to our users. Stripe is currently unable to support sexually explicit content due to restrictions placed on them by their banking partners. Despite card networks generally supporting adult content with the appropriate registrations, Stripe has indicated that they hope to be able to support adult content in the future. It sounds like there was a change that was made, and they might be in the process of walking that back right now. If they're trying to say, yeah, it might come back in the future. So hang with us just a little bit longer. We're in the process of talking with other payment partners to accept card payments that Stripe is unable to process. We disabled Stripe payments last week on pages identified as having adult not safe for work content. Now that we have a more specific definition from Stripe, we may review that initial list for potential reintroduction. Again, who is making the judgment call at the end of the day for what fits under the guidelines that they are enforcing right now? However, our long-term plan is to implement one or more new processors to avoid putting the platform at risk. And then they give a glossary, adult not safe for work content. This is a term we use for the criteria applied in last week's audit of adult content. It refers to pages that have both contain sensitive material, option checked, and a tag suggesting adult content, like that stuff. Deindexed, a state where a project is removed from public discovery channels on itch.io. A deindexed page will not appear in search results, browse pages, or recommendations. However, the page is otherwise fully functional and will appear normally in collections, libraries, and profile pages. Access to files included on the page are not restricted in any way. It's just impossible to find it unless you have someone that connected with you to give you the link. So a de-indexed game is basically dead in the water when it comes to itch.io. And then we have the legendary Madam Savvy, who says, "Congratulations, Collective Shout. You have effectively done nothing. The free games removed will be relisted, but they do not, because they do not violate any laws, and will continue to be made available for all to goon and enjoy." Which, this is the biggest thing right here. They found a workaround to get games taken down because itch.io and Steam were not listening. So they went for the payment processors. But the payment processors can't stop free games because those don't require any kind of transaction. So those are back up right away. Once there is an alternative to the current payment processor shenanigans, then the remaining games delisted will indeed return. All Collective Shout and Visa and Mastercard did was open the discussion for alternatives, which is the worst thing you can do as a business, pushing people to your competitors. I could not have said it better myself. This is the dumbest move they could have ever done. This was a situation that nobody had problems with. There were no massive backlash or anything. We're talking about a minor, small group of a collection of what, 6 liberal feminists in Australia or so, give or take, that got together and somehow moved mountains to get Visa and MasterCard to listen to them and bend the knee, which is crazy to me. Again, I hear that and I'm like, you got to go much deeper and find out behind the scenes what is actually taking place. Creators will not be silenced. You cannot control the flow of creativity and expression, but keep screaming at companies who do breast cancer charity fundraising wrong, which, yikes. I am certain you are making so many fans by doing that. And she continues, she says, "Use this energy, by the way, to refuel your drive. Do not stop calling Visa and MasterCard," which is echoing what I said previously. "Do not stop spreading information. Do not stop filing ethic complaints. Do not stop digging into groups, finding government connections, or ties to the World Economic Forum." Curious how it always seems to go back to that, by the way. Platforms don't want to do this censorship bogus. It is up to us to do the real legwork, which absolutely nailed it, knocked it out of the park. Very true. And Savvy's not the only one saying this. There are many other people sharing this as well online. This is Chibi Reviews, who says, "Breaking news, itch.io is reindexing adult games on their site again if it's labeled free. They confirm they are actively talking with payment processors to sort things out." So now we have the full clarification, transparency of what itch.io is doing and actively finding another way to be able to purchase these games once again. I think it is a little bit debilitating to these adult content games and not fair to them because they were created and built and put out there without any issues or legalities against them. And then because a bunch of feminists got together and got mad, they are now losing the ability to sell those games that they many of them worked tirelessly on to put the games together. That's not fair to them. And again, I go back to what I said the other day too, of what about the developers that are working on an adult content game as we speak right now? One, I already know behind the scenes that I can vouch for, shared with me some screenshots and videos of their game that actually looks like a legitimate, like decent game, like a real full-fledged game that just goes into some really aggressive sexual stuff in it. And it's like, damn, that actually is a different approach to a game that there may be an audience for. By these companies bending the knee with Visa and Mastercard coming out, it stops the potential opportunity of an introduction to a new genre of game, or developing creativity into different areas. That is the complete opposite of what gaming and entertainment is all about in the first place. And oh, by the way, where the hell is this anger for the smut books, for the smut movies? Where is the same energy from Visa, MasterCard on that stuff? Why is it just the games? I keep going back to that. It's just very strange to me. So good on itch.io is very comforting and a relief to see that they are on the gamer's side, and they're basically telling us without saying it. They're like, look, guys, we got fucked here. We're doing the best we can, but holy shit, there's a shitstorm of feminists coming at us right now. We're doing what we can to try to fend them off. And I think with our help, we are going to win it back. And it is awesome to see that they might have won the battle, but they are definitely not winning the war. And with that, I will leave that there.